Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. And if you're watching this anywhere other than twitch.tv/Deep Mindfulness, what on earth are you doing? This is where it's actually happening. The reason is all happening here is because we're switching our platform. We're not going to be rebroadcasting to either Facebook or YouTube. We want to make sure that folks know that. Oh, my volume is very low. It's about to go get loud already. That should have, what? Hello, check, check. Okay, that might have, I can't tell if that made a difference. My mic is very drifty today. Okay, cool. So we're going to not be restreaming to other locations, so that's going to be what's up. Okay, folks, so let us know, first and foremost, there's a very funny thing happening right now, which is that my mic is just like slowly drifting away. Let us know on Earth, where are you? Where in the world is you, sucker? What is going on, folks? Great to see you. Great to see folks starting to roll in. Hello. Welcome, folks. Nice to see you here with us. Where you at? Well, okay. Hey, Jean from Brooklyn is here. Nice to see you, Jean. As always. Lovely to have you with us. Folks, today we're going to be continuing our theme around developing kind awareness. Rory from Kingston. Lovely to have you here. Be nice to have you. It is nice to have you. Okay, here we go. This is what we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on some more development of kind awareness today. In particular, looking at a set of principles that tend to be present with this kind awareness, and we're going to be cultivating that. I have to ask my wife a question. Awesome. Thank you so much. I just asked my wife for a favor. Lovely. Okay, so let's see. Folks are popping up here. We got 2020 CL from the UK. Welcome, Nick. Still on vacay in Stromstad, sneaking in some DMC in the ocean. Lovely. Nice to have you here. Nice to be at the ocean. Hopefully you're enjoying the view. Alex Ranleaf from Portland. Nice to see you. I'm confused as to why my mic is so low today. Nothing's changed, and yet the mic is significantly lower than usual. Check, check. Okay, maybe I just need to be a little closer and my mic needs to stop drifting away. Okay, I thought I fixed that before the stream, the drifting part, but we'll see. Lovely, sound is good. Yeah, it's what it is I can watch the meters for the recording, and unless it's hitting a certain number, I'm always like, I think that's probably low. We're going to get a complaint. Okay. I'm going to use this other microphone as a thing to hold this microphone in place. This is a sign of a very high-end system here where you're literally tying your two microphones in a knot to hold one in place. This is advanced. Folks, very lovely to have you here. As always, we are going to be continuing on our series on kind awareness. So far, the last two things that we worked on was one, beep, boop, bop, 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 was just becoming, knowing awareness and then adding a drop of kindness. The next one was developing a do-nothing practice with just a tiny bit of awareness of a being that is deserving of kindness that's in front of us. And today we're going to be exploring some of these qualities that will come along with kind awareness. So we're going to practice for 25 minutes, and after which we will have time to answer your questions. One way we do that is via Zoom, so I'll put a link in the chat-a-rooney here, and then we'll be able to jump in if that's of interest to folks. Let's see, I wanted to check something here. Where is this? Okay, just one sec. So folks, I haven't, just so you know, if you ever want a question answered on stream, you can go to our Discord and there's a place for questions. And it's always lovely to have your questions there. Let's see. Okay. It's telling me where people are coming from. Okay, so just a quick warning once more. If you're watching this anywhere other than twitch.tv/deepmindfulness, come on over. It'd be great to have you here. And I'm trying to have it show me where the current viewers are from. No. Okay, folks. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Folks, so finding a nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit, we're going to be practicing for 25 minutes. Excellent. Okay, so finding that comfortable position. Is it strange to have a preferred bell striker? And for that bell striker to be continuously missing? Okay, well, folks, we're going to make do with this other bell striker. So finding a nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit. One practice accelerator that people often overlook is stillness. So it might seem like no big deal if we're just making adjustments all the time, but actually learning to have stillness in the body is actually quite significant in developing a practice. So finding that nice comfortable position, if you're sitting, making sure that the knees are lower than the hips, allowing the hips to rock forward just slightly. If these are the hips, they'll rock forward about that much. This will allow the tailbone to naturally support the lower arch of the back, which will then support the upper back to balance as well. I realized, babe, we should make a video on posture. We should make that would be a nice thing to do. The great way is easy for the one with no preference. Yeah, I know. But what are you going to do? I like this particular striker. Not the end of the world. Okay, so find that nice comfortable position, folks, and we will begin. Let's see. Excellent, okay. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. Just feeling the body rise and fall. If you'd like to practice with the eyes open, we can feel free to rest the eyes on a single point. Or if we would prefer to practice with the eyes closed, just letting them gently close. Beginning by allowing the body to be, making any adjustments we need to allow the body to be comfortable, seeing if we have our own settling in process, if we can listen to the body. What does it need in order to feel comfortable to be still for a period of time? There are different ways of knowing relaxation. One is to actively relax, and the other is to not intervene. And we're going to be not intervening today. So first we'll take a few comfortable deep breaths and let that stretch, lift the body, let the body collapse as the breath falls away. Filling the belly, rib cage, chest. And then letting go of any particular way of breathing. The body will breathe on its own. So we begin by not needing to meditate. Not needing to pay attention. Not needing to concentrate or get anything from the practice itself. A great deal of our internal difficulty is based on the sense that there is a need to be, a need to do. And so part of what we're connecting with is the fact that there is no need. And the irony is that needs may arise. Suddenly the system might need to and want to focus. And we don't have to put that away. We don't have to fight that. It'll simply be an aspect of nature that will come and go like all other experiences in nature. We are effectively just a pile of bones and meat. Distractions may arise. That's natural. Thoughts and planning may arise. This too is natural. The mind may become foggy or distracted or anxious and jittery. None of this is a problem. There's not even a need to do nothing, to let go of intention or try to not engage. This is a moment in our life where there's far less of a need for anything. So without adding a lot of doing, experimenting with how little we need to add, I'd like us to just have a sense of a being, a presence, nothing distinct. In fact, it's quite ethereal. It's in front of us. And it is a creative being. Not worrying about what this means or what it looks like. Just barely sensing that in front of us is this creative being. Its nature is being creative. Its nature is being curious. And we may experience this being as separate from us, but it's okay if it's coming in contact with the body. It's just a mist. No need to do anything or be anyone, and simply knowing there is a creative, curious being occupying the space directly in front of the body. This being's very existence is generous, and its contact with us, this knowing experience, is rich with that generosity, that curiosity, that creativity. And noticing this way in which all of our doing activity, the usual experience of a self that needs to do X, Y, or Z, can just rest. And enjoy the contact with this creative being. If it's available, noticing this dual relief. One is a relief of not needing to do, kind of empty spaciousness. A large part of the system can finally relax. And without needing to create a great deal, without needing to emphasize what it looks like or what its job is. The relief and enjoyment of contact. If the mind is making up stories, that's not a problem. Just letting that be in the realm where we don't need to do anything. Maybe it'll make up stories. Maybe it will prefer and push and pull. That's all quite natural. Along with creativity, curiosity, this being is also very clear. There is a deep clarity We don't even need to enjoy this contact. There's a way in which the body-mind will do that for us. To simply know this clarity is enough. The mind may try to understand, try to put the experience in a box. That's fine. That's just another thing that may happen. We don't have to engage with that. We don't have to push it away. Just the barest knowing of the clarity of this being occupying the space exactly adjacent to our body. This mist. And we're exploring the knowing of this being. Having contact with its nature, creativity, curiosity, clarity. Now letting go of any particular technique or imagining soaking into these qualities, allowing the body to breathe in the experience, even to move or adjust slightly, as long as we're staying with the practice. In a way that would allow us clear contact letting the mind and body simply know these characteristics. And if anything else arises, simply allowing them to be subsumed. Allowing this soft knowing to simply encompass. And allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes. And choosing a speed of opening the eyes that helps us connect more richly with the practice. Eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point. Now we're seeing this space that this imagined being occupied, letting our seeing awareness be part of this clear contact. And allowing this moment, built out of the momentum of our practice, letting this be the great teacher that shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. So what was that like? What happened and what are you like now? See if you can make any adjustments you need to allow the body to be comfortable. Okay. So what was that like? I'm going to, if folks are here, I'm assuming someone's here. If folks are here, I'm going to throw our Zoom into the chat. If folks want to, you can, and let me know if you want to jump over there. I'm not going to launch Zoom because there's sometimes camera interference. If you want to jump over there and give a report or ask a question, you can feel free. It's sometimes easier to get into the deets when we're talking. So excellent. What was that like? I'd be curious in particular to know if that was useful, fruitful, if any challenges arose. We're sort of re-evaluating a fundamental set of meditations that we give people. It's like we have our first set of meditations, which usually pops up here in the chat every so often. Let's see, is so we have our set of 15 that pops up in the chat, but then right after that, as soon as people finish those first 15, we give them these sort of set of guided meditations, which we typically refer to as a metta practice or a loving kindness practice. And we're reevaluating those and looking at a way to deliver those in a clearer way, because there's been questions over the years that have been challenges for people. So how can we how can we make that adjustment? So that's what we're doing. So be curious about your experience, challenges, interests, difficulties, all those different pieces that might arise. What was that like? What happened and what are you like now? We have our visiting, this is our in-house poet, Will Alexander Bethany. I'll try to read this as is, but as everyone here who's been here for very long knows, my dyslexia is king when it comes to reading, especially things that are creative grammatically, you could say. Winter is coming for this who rejects Shinzen Young in favor of Robert DiAngelo, is what my Uncle Mulk said to me the last night. He is a very smart and perky guy who loves hiking. For those, asterisk. I especially appreciate that last part, the for those, because that's the thing that you do when you misspelled something, but it's like there's no position where that should land. That's actually really funny and creative. Appreciate that. I appreciate that we have an in-house poet. I really do appreciate that very much. So I think that I'm only now getting clarity that that's what Will Alexander Bethany is for our community. I'm going to read that one more time. Winter is coming. I'm going to try to do this with a nice dramatic voice. Winter is coming for those who reject Shinzen Young in favor of Robert DiAngelo, is what my Uncle Mulk said to me last night. He's a very smart and perky guy who loves hiking. For those, asterisk. I don't know if that was any better with the movie guy voice. In a world where squirrels can talk, one man and a dog, this summer, Queen Latifah and Anthony Hopkins? Cool. Okay, folks, give me them reports. I want them reports. What happened? What was the meditation like? If you say relaxing, you're going into meditation detention. No, I'm just kidding. Relaxing is fine, and it doesn't. I want to hear more. I want to hear detail. What happened? What the hell? You guys are advanced meditators over here. What's going on with your practice? Raquel, I bought Raquel. It's funny because it's both of our money, but I bought Raquel a set of noise canceling headphones, and we're going to make a new rule that Raquel cannot use those headphones while we're doing the stream, because she's like crash bang boom, and then it's so funny that she's like crashing through stuff, and then I look over and she's like tiptoeing she can't hear it. It's funny. It's like how when you have headphones on you like yell, this kind of thing. There are a lot of people texting me suddenly. Okay, turn that sucker off. Okay, folks, I'm not going to put anybody in meditation detention if you don't want to report your experience. No problem with me. Listen, hey. What I will do, let me take a look at my calendarino here. Okay. It was interesting. So I teach a class, this Progressive Shinsight class, and I was noticing, I was like, man, there is a massive lack of people asking questions. It's just not happening. And I was like, what is up with that? What is the story with that thing that people are, the last class, there's a lot of questions being asked. And unrelated to that, I thought in my mind, was the fact that we hadn't done our small groups or times for people to check in and talk about, hey, here's what's going on with me in my life. And so I said, okay, we're going to do that in this class. And we had our groups and people checked in and said, okay, this is what's happening in my practice, in my life. And then we went back to the main group and people just had tons of questions. So it's like so obvious to me, of course, now that in order to get people talking and sharing, it was helpful to get them just talking to each other. So I thought that was very interesting. And I realized there's not really a format for that here exactly. Maybe our Discord or something like that. Maybe that's part of what it is. It's also interesting because the way the chat is set up, you folks can't have like a private conversation during the stream. If you have a private conversation, I read it and it's sort of weird, so you can't really like chat with each other in that way. So anyway, just having the thoughts, people, these are thoughts. Okay, Rory says, I had a hard time connecting to the being and sensing those attributes. Okay, interesting. Tell me, Rory, I know you're a very skilled meditator with skilled reporting abilities. Would you do me a giant favor and would you tell me about that hard time? Give me some details about how that came up, what was the challenge, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's often difficult, because for me what I have to do is sense what's happening in whoever I'm guiding's experience, and then take 30 minutes and guide and hope that they're following along, because you never know. And that said, sometimes there's various factors. Someone's very hungry or they're very tired or this kind of thing. So it's really helpful to know, like, what was it that was challenging, or for you, what came up this time that was sort of difficult. Jean says, I tried not to move very much today per your instructions. I'm still at a point in my practice where, oh, we have a new follow here from Ruben320. Ruben, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining our stream. It's a delight to have you here. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, try not to move as per your instructions. I'm still at a point in my practice where I space out or get distracted. Well, that just happens less and less. It's less significant. It's sort of shorter periods. It's less, pulls you away less intensely. And then eventually over time that can kind of break down. But today I think I spaced out less. Okay, great. Good to know. If I sit in a way that cuts off blood circulation, I absolutely have to move. Yeah, exactly. Well, two things. One is, don't damage the body. Two, it's actually, I used to have this thing of like, oh no, my leg is falling asleep. What do I do? What do I do? And if it's really bad, if it's like, it's going to be like painful as hell, I'll do something. But a lot of time I just let it fall asleep, because there's nothing really wrong with that per se. As long as it sort of comes back, a couple minutes after meditation. But that's not uncommon, especially if I wear pants. I'm not wearing pants, people. No, I'm wearing shorts today. If I wear like tight pants, it'll be guaranteed that one leg will go very numb. I try to rotate which leg is in front, because that's the leg that will tend. I think the leg that's on the inside will tend to go numb. So yeah, but part of what I'm saying is you don't have to move even if there is blood circulation being cut off, but you also don't want to injure yourself or make it terribly uncomfortable. Let's see here. Yeah, just getting used to sitting still is a very powerful way to speed up your practice. Beginner's comment. Thank you, Ruben. Appreciate the beginner's comment. If my foot falls asleep during the meditation and is uncomfortable, should I stay in the same position, or is it okay to adjust? Well, I started answering that same question. You have an option. Basically, you want a threshold. Like if there's like a meter, and on this side of the meter way over here is, I just can't meditate whatsoever. It's impossible to meditate. And on this side is like, you barely even notice the sensation. Well, you want the meter to be able to go as far as it can, because this whole range is building equanimity. As far as it can towards like, being distracting basically, until it gets to a place where it's actually sort of getting in the way and you can't practice, and you're like, okay, this is getting in the way. That where that meter lands will change over time. I can be in a pretty significant amount of pain during the sit, and it's fine. It's not a big deal. It just is actually, it's not even a factor. It's just sort of this thing over here. Occasionally it'll say, hello, I'm in pain, and that's all that there is. So you want to figure out, is this so distracting that I can't ignore it anymore? And that's usually the threshold where you begin to make an adjustment. The one caveat there is that quite a number of people have either trauma or developmental trauma, sort of more atmospheric, you could say, trauma, or situational, non-situational trauma, more like environmental sort of, atmospheric trauma. And you don't want to re-traumatize yourself. So for me, the voice that was very predominant for most of my life was like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you try harder? Just so like, if that's the thing that's coming up, it's like, come on, like, then you can actually tell that voice like, hey, it's cool, and like, I'm just going to make an adjustment. It's actually fine to make an adjustment. The thing we don't want is if we make an adjustment and then we just get used to this thing of like, we're like Mr. Fidget. In a sense, make an adjustment, do it very mindfully, and you're good. That's actually the general rule. Just make sure that it's mindful. However, it's worth noting that if you can train the system to start ignoring those signals, it'll just stop delivering those signals. Like an itch, it's very significant and very useful, 97% of the time, to just ignore the itch, and the system will stop delivering itches. But if you do scratch the itch, to do so very mindfully, take your time. Often what happens is people say, oh, I'm just going to get rid of this thing. I'm just going to go unconscious and, whatever, and then go back to the practice. Well, you just introduced a lot of unconsciousness, and the mind is going to be pretty agitated after that. Hopefully that is helpful. 2020 CL says, it was so restful, but I was very unanchored and sleepy. It's also real. I also realize that because we're starting with a do-nothing practice, it could be much harder because there's less to settle on. For me, there's more to settle on because I have to manage the entire guidance and my own experience and my sense of what other people's experiences are, and am I way too close to the microphone or whatever it is, managing all these things. So because there's more doing, the task-oriented nature of it, the mind can kind of stay with the task, but I might be overestimating how easy it is for folks to stay with the non-doing side. Rory said, the challenge was to keep my focus on a non-specific aspect. I had a lot of distractions, and the being as an object didn't hold much interest for me. Okay, so let me think here, because that was driven by interest. It's interesting because interest is one driver, and interest can actually be it's interesting in this way, because part of this being that we are sort of imagining's nature is curiosity. It is curious. Now, we don't have to be curious about it because that might entail a lot of doing, but that's part of its sort of that exploration, is how would we know? Like, I mean, in a way, a lot of this is like a mind trick. Being interested is a mind trick to get the system to keep attending to something. I mean, if we use it in that intentional way. So another mind trick you could do is imagine that there really is a being in front of us that is nature, is curiosity, clarity, and creativity. It really is there. How would we know? Right now, how would we know that that being is present? Its nature is just those qualities, just connecting with what is that experience. And I think connecting with the body as the connecting device is probably pretty significant in that way. So yeah, I mean, that might be a way to adjust the guidance there. Nate says, I think there's an inherent ambiguity to today's kind of practice which makes it difficult for me to really offer feedback. Cool. Thank you for that. That is great feedback. Sporty Race Girl, welcome back. We haven't seen you in a while. I'm sitting in exactly the place where all the text is over my face. Does anyone, I don't know if anyone knows, but Raquel and I have like a fake Italian language that we use all the time. Face being Italian for the facesino. Okay, so let's see here. Sporty Race Car Girl says, I had a strong image of me as a newborn baby and a deep sense of loss, okay, and being so far from the creative and curious in curiosity that I was born into. So that's actually great clarity, because part of what we're doing in this current series is cultivating a sense of a self or being that can process that kind of loss. So it's actually often in a meditation practice, what arises is we say, okay, do this thing, which is a positive attribute, right? Imagine something nice, good, wholesome in some way. And then this other thing arises, which is like, I hate this, or I feel lost, or I'm mad, or whatever. And we say, well, that's just ignore that. We should get rid of that. But actually, what that's pointing to for you and for anyone else who that arises from is a part that feels separate from that, whatever positive thing we're connecting with. And that's actually very good information. It's likely that that part of you, the self that arose that felt that way, needs nurturing and needs to mourn. And so that's part of how you can design your own, particular practice in that way around that. So that's actually really excellent clarity. And that's part of this whole series that we're doing. So stick around. That's exactly what we're working in, is getting the material, or not getting. I think that's one of the things we keep talking about, is that the material's there. It's having contact with the material and not needing to create something that isn't already there. Roy says, the do nothing aspect was easier for me and enjoyable. Wonderful. Excellent. 2020 CL says, I had a vision of a pink emu. Lovely. Very unexpected. And then Ruben 320 says, thanks for that. Very helpful. I'm glad that was helpful. I want to mention something related to this. It was the Rory. So, yeah, it's so interesting for me because this is not a practice I've done a ton, and this sort of contact with this being that has these qualities was very available for me. Now, the problem with that is a few things. One is an assumption that is universal, that everyone should be able to do that, which is alienating for anyone who doesn't have that immediate experience. An assumption that is sort of a foundational skill. I'm going through the pedagogical sort of layers here. And then also, question of, potentially having that be a place that, it could be a thing where I'm genuinely realizing, actually, it's up to me to figure out a way to get folks to get to this place, and like, hey, just try this again, right? Or it's a thing where I'm asking something that is not really reasonable of most people. And so it's this very interesting balance. So what I would encourage, if you're open to it, is trying this practice again. We have another live stream in fewer than 48 hours. So, oh no, we don't. Raquel's wagging the finger. Okay, announcement time. We do not have a live stream this coming Wednesday. No live stream this Wednesday. Next live stream this Friday. This Wednesday, Raquel and I are going to celebrate our anniversary, which some of you might know that we went away to celebrate our anniversary last week for a few days, last weekend. And we're going to do it again because it was a really nice time. We want to do it again. We're going to go sit in a stream, and I'm going to do some more painting. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to get into. There's also this interesting thing. I'm sort of getting a little into the weeds of what it's like to be a teacher. There's this thing where if there can be a complaint torrent, and the mind can go into this thing of like, yeah, there's something wrong with the practice, because typically the mind will say one of three things. 1, there's something wrong with me. 2, there's something wrong with this practice. 3, there's something wrong with this teacher. And any one of those three are going to be sort of like pits that are sort of hard to get out of. So I actually think this practice is quite strong. So I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that I think this is a poor structural piece. I think this is actually quite good. Okay. Alex Rainleaf says, it felt a bit awkward at first to imagine this misty being with positive qualities outside of myself, but there was a sense of satisfaction to finally merge with it in the end. I believe this meditation would work better for me on additional attempts. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is doing this a number of times would probably be pretty fruitful and useful. And I just want to emphasize that the part of us that doesn't connect with this, okay, let me back up here. This is where I'm going to land on evaluating today's meditation. There's three ways. One is it worked wonderfully. The other 2 ways are it didn't work so well for me, and there's 2 ways in which that was the case. One is more practice would actually be significant. More practice would probably give this a lot of juice. And I think most people fit into that category, likely. The third and sort of thinner sliver is this just isn't a practice for everybody, obviously. So, and that's going to happen with any practice. That's going to be the case. It's just not going to be a practice for everyone. So I usually don't do so much hemming and hawing on that particular practice. So it's an experiment. There we are. So folks, any other questions, reports, confusions, these kind of things? And if not, then we'll take our very brief leave of absence for one live stream coming back here on Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Very good times. Oh, P.S. folks, within the next, this is good information actually. Okay, within the next 48 hours, we're putting out a brand new video. It is the playback of our last retreat. So our last retreat was on mind and body, and it's a 4.5 hour retreat, although if you don't want to do the whole 4.5 hours, you can do part of it. But I'm going to put this link in the chat. It'll post 6 times or 10 times or something. Just post over and over again. I don't know why it does this. Here it goes, another one. Oh wait, you know what? That's the wrong link. Sorry guys, wrong links. Here it is. This is what we. This is the thing that posts itself. It self posts. If you want to receive this, basically, if you want to receive this, get on our email list. We don't have like a way to here, get on our email list. It's like an easy sign up. So if you sign up for those, what's it called, meditations, our foundation meditations, it puts you on the email list. So that's like the quickest way that I have right now. We should probably cross that off a list and be something that we add in here. Okay, great. So folks, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you here as always. We're going to be sending out that link for that retreat coming soon. We're very happy that that exists. Thank you. Today is our actual day of our anniversary. I wish I had some wedding photos. That'd be sort of a fun, maybe not fun for you, but fun for me, thing to share. Maybe we'll do that on Friday. We'll go through some wedding photos if that's fun. I really liked we made a very particular, interesting wedding. I thought it was its own special thing. And yeah, lovely folks. Okay, so I have a wish for everyone now. The wish is simple, and it's just that right here in this particular moment, you are able to contact the part of you that knows clarity, the part of you that knows curiosity, the part of you that knows creativity, not having to do anything special to create them or make them, just knowing those parts of ourself. Just enjoying that and letting that be a way to connect with those parts all throughout our day. Knowing the part of us that feels connected, of course, in these strange and alienated worlds, it's often a sense that we can feel very isolated. Us here alone in our little digital corner of the universe. But in connecting with the space around us, connecting with the world and our senses, the part of us that knows connection, just knowing the connection with the people who are here, knowing the complexity of their lives, even if it's just an understanding, all of the rich, nuanced detail that creates our own lives is fully expressed in all these different people, the pains and sorrows and joys and triumphs. Consider all the amazing triumphs, transformational experiences that just the people on this one live stream have experienced, and just allowing that to sink in just a little bit, letting that knowing carry us through. Letting that knowing be something that might influence and be a bit of spice, flavoring the way we relate to the world. Okay, folks, have a lovely day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, 19860, for your kind words about the outro. It's a little chance for me to do a little improv poetry. Have a lovely day, folks. Take care of each other. Be kind where you can. And we'll see you very soon.